What up, people? New day, new time. Not sure what, if any, schedule there's going to be, but here we are today. We're not going to do Tuesdays anymore. We had all of maybe 10 people there last time. You know, you would think with the quote unquote lockdown, which is a term for prisoners, and quarantine is for sick people, so why are we either locked down or quarantined? But anyway, you would think, situation being what it is, that more people would show up to live streams, but it seemed to be the opposite. There's been a sharp drop off since then, since all this started, of people going to live streams. In general, I know there's part of the problem is YouTube itself is not notifying people when somebody's going live, but they seem to do a little better with premieres, which also come with a built-in 2-minute intro with that little annoying song and the images that will induce seizures if you're epileptic. So I don't know. I might just go to that. If I do anything regularly, like weekly, it might be just a premiere. So I can do the video whenever I want and then just upload it in Premiere and have a live chat. So that the question is, you know, when you see a drop off suddenly, you know, it's never been that great as far as the numbers go, and what you really can go by is chat participation. I know people who watch who don't chat, but it's a better indicator of how many people's actually there, and there was maybe 5 or 6 people. So the thing is about live streams and presentations when it's just me, is it's a lot of work. I mean, I have to talk the whole time. I have to have something to present and talk about. And in all honesty, I mean, I've got like 600 videos or close to it. And this is, you know, I can't think of a topic or a part of the Bible I haven't gone over more than once. So just at a crossroads, and I've done 50 truth finders, which, barring a couple of weeks off, is a year's worth. But I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know what to do in the future. But yeah, it's kind of a question what to do next. And the thing is that it's hard to get panel discussions because people have other priorities. But what is interesting is that any given heathen channel or false teacher channel, whatever it is, they got hundreds of viewers and they've got, you know, 5 or 6 people or more on panel on a regular basis. Everybody wants to be on panel. They've got a group of friends who's always available to be on panel. I don't know how they do that. It doesn't work for me. It's hard to get people to commit. Is the issue. It's hard to say, you know, I'm going to do this every Tuesday or every Sunday at 2 and have people reliably show up. I've never been able to do that all these years. So this is the question, is what I should do next. Now, we had a live stream Friday just because a couple of my friends happened to both be available and willing to be online at the time. But I can't, I don't know that I can guarantee that. And life, you know, things get in the way in life. I understand that. But why don't they get in the way of other channels? That's been my question. Is people vote with their feet. They set their priorities. And I've, you know, over the years tried different days and times and nothing seems to stick. So this day and time is probably going to be working for more people, but I don't know what I'm going to do at this day and time. You know, whether I'm going to present lessons or just chit chat with the people who come to the chat or what. Because like I said, is there a topic or a book study that I haven't done? And I can't think of it. Yeah, it's possible people are being paid. I don't know that. But anyway, I'm just not sure what I'm going to go do going forward. So one thing I have been doing, though, that doesn't involve live streaming or any presentations necessarily with video, is on my blog, and I'll get you a link real quick. I know Chow would be on it, but I got these right here. So um, the lessons that I had been doing at Quantum Eraser Channel, I'm not doing anymore. So, and all the ones up to that point I have already uploaded to my channel, Christian Faith Series, I think I called it, the playlist. But we need things that are not videos just in case. So I had been making printed documents to go with those presentations. So I thought, why don't I just weave those into my website and put them all under lessons. I had been working on this before, but I've been working on it more lately. There will be more things here. Foundation is just kind of start here. And then we have book studies. You got to be familiar with the text. And then other topics will be down in this list after that. So, like, for example, you can click on Foundation. And this is the Christian Faith series, basically, with a couple other things added in. I added one on the book of Enoch. So, and these would, you click on these and it takes you to the document that you might have seen before. But these are more formal lesson presentation things. So there they are. So I've got all the books listed here, but I've only done Genesis so far in the Old Testament. I have videos, but I don't have printed document, or printable, I should say. The nice thing about these documents would be that you could print them off. So these are a little squished just to fit on the screen, but you get the idea. You can go to these, and the breadcrumb trail, you can go back to the, whatever, the very top of the list if you wanted to. So that's kind of a new feature I put in. New Testament is pretty much just going to my commentary, because I've already got this stuff done, and it's printable if you wanted it to be. You could just print these things off. So, and I'm going to be updating my Bible site too. It's kind of a conundrum between when you have Bible verses, or if you want to change anything, or you find a mistake and it shows up in different places, it's better to have it in a database. But the problem with having it in a database is, one, it slows down page load more noticeably on mobile devices, and two, I have to maintain two databases because I have a local home LAMP server, they call it, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. I'm sure everybody has one at home. But I use that for development, and I use it also to create the documents that I would display online. So I only want one database. So what I'm going to do is change the online one. Right now it doesn't use one, but it's hard to maintain. So I'm changing my methods behind the scenes of how I do that. So look for changes coming with that. It'll be a little while. I'm still working out bugs. But the thing is that that's what all of these New Testament ones are. So those are done. But Old Testament, I only have Genesis done. Anyway, you might also recall there's been this site, which I really don't do much with anymore, but it has a list, this thing called the course. You can see all these other things. It's a basic self-guided discipleship thing. And the course has links to all my videos. Some of this is documents. I hope I haven't broken the links. I probably have, but the thing is that you can watch the video on, there's a playlist on the Torah, a playlist on Bible history in the Old Testament. So that's what this is, if you wanted to, follow that course. But right now, this is what I'm working on. And all of this takes time. But like I said, I've got book studies for the entire Bible. I've got topic studies on just about everything video-wise. And I'm just working on documents now, which doesn't make a very good presentation as far as, watch me put this document together. But so the question is, should I just show up here every Sunday afternoon and see who's around, or what? Because I have to plan ahead if I'm going to have people on panel. I would have to know if people are around and they want to be on, then I have to run it from Discord or Skype or Hangouts, Google Hangouts, one of those things, get everybody in a call, and then pipe that through OBS to YouTube. I have to know ahead of time if I'm going to do that. So if nobody's around and it's, like an hour before live streaming time, then it would just be me, and I would just go straight from OBS. In which case, I'm like, what am I going to do? We'll just say hi. We can do that if you guys want that. But they won't be very long, because how much can I just, jabber about without having a lesson? So all of these things are rolling around in my head right now. And that's the big question is, shall I go on? It depends on a lot of things. It depends on what people want. It depends if they're going to show up. It depends if there's something I haven't covered, So, and I don't know. Let's see who we got in chat. Also, I still get donations from people via PayPal. You'll notice I took away monetization on my channel. It's just, why have it? I know it was, a friend asked me to do that for fun. People like to do super chats, but it's not being used. And I really didn't like monetizing anyway. But there's still PayPal, and there's also things, if, you have to have somebody's email, though, to do it. It's things like Venmo or Zella, payment apps. But PayPal works for most people, even though I don't like them either. They're a necessary evil, like, any other payment exchange, because nobody needs my email. I don't need theirs. They can give it, anonymously, which is a big deal to some people. But I do want to shout them out because they're very generous and kind, and I really appreciate that. And so let me shout out people who are here in the chat that I see. I see Nathan. At least he was here earlier, and Brian, and Good Servant, and Teddy, Amalu, Dom, Chow, Walter Moss. Let's see, anybody else? I'll get there. James Mason, Amanda Young. Yeah, let's see who else. AJM. And very kind comments, thank you. Greg E. Let's see, Nicholas McDade, Lane Smith, Dr. Law, and Lynn Sustad, and Unicorn 8 Laser Eyes. All right, so you got to tell me what you want, because I don't know what to do next. So I kind of tried to lay out other things I'm working on that don't involve making videos, but if you want a regular live stream, I need to know what should I cover, because like I said, I've done the topics, I've done the book studies, and I have a playlist full of those, plus earlier videos that aren't in the playlist, and I'm just repeating myself now. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of work to present, so it might turn into, if people are around, there'll be a live stream. If not, I don't know if there'll be a live stream. There's something to be said for keeping a schedule, but that hasn't changed the number of people who show up anyway. I mean, whether I did it every week for a year, and maybe sometimes I had 20 people, but an impromptu live stream will also get 20 people. So I don't know if scheduling really matters. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking at the stats. Let's see, people like to be spoon-fed. Yeah, I was just hoping there would be more Christians who don't like that. Yeah, I try not to do that, but I'm presenting, I'm sharing, but then as far as, telling people what to do, there's channels that I've been banned from, or what, big shocks and surprise, I know, but that teach such bizarre things from the Bible and don't want to be questioned. I don't mind questions. I just mind attitudes of people telling me, "Oh no, you're totally, a false teacher," or I'm a baby Christian, but you're false, you're wrong. That sort of attitude really ticks me off. But anybody that comes with an honest question, I'd be happy to answer. But like I said, I don't know what you guys want. So if like I said, if in looking back over the years, it doesn't seem to make any difference whether I keep a schedule. So I don't know if I'll keep one. And I may just go live when there's other people around. in which case I can't announce that ahead of time, because if I do and then they don't show up, it's, I have to come up with something. So, um, but yeah, don't know what you guys want. And that's really all I had to say, other than check out the lesson stuff. It will be growing as I get time. Um, but other than that, I don't know what to do with live streaming. Like I said, if I felt like I had something to present and I could prepare it and make a video and then record it ahead of time, then I would upload it and do it as a premiere which is just pre-recorded with a live chat. I could do that. But I don't know what to tell you to expect in the future from my channel. That's what I'm saying. Um, so, if you like conversations, it's easier to go live when there's a conversation. And but that's something I can't plan ahead. That's what I'm saying. If it was just me and I had a bunch of stuff lined up I wanted to do, yeah, schedule's okay. But like I said, it doesn't make any difference as to how many people come, whether I do the same thing every week. That's just been the way it is. So so yeah, I don't know what as far as live streams goes, what you would like me to talk about. So, and thanks again for more nice comments. It really means a lot to me. Let's see, you might want to put something in there that we might want to do something later on. Okay, well, see, I don't know. I don't want to come up with the ideas. I research and present. I don't know how to tell other people what they want, Um, but like I said, I have kept schedules for a year. I did for the year before that. I kept it for a whole summer. Um, Schedules don't matter for attendance. They don't matter for how many people show up or how many people chat. They just don't matter. And the day and time doesn't matter. I don't know. I think it's just there's not a lot of interest in what I present. So if there were, there would be more people. And like I said, I just being realistic and trying to figure out what to do next. Um, and if you hear creaky chair in the background, sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. It is my chair, and it's comfortable, so I don't know how to make it not creak. They make chairs out of plastic now, so you can't oil them, and it's the upholstery half the time. So anyway, yeah, I have a bunch of material, not just the YouTube channel, but this site I've got up on the screen. Also got links to the books and the New Testament study tool, which I said I'm working on. And the books, by the way, I also have made on a couple of them e-reader versions, EPUB. So might want to check those out. But other than that, I got a boatload of articles, and I'm making more in this lesson format. I'll be working on it'll take me at least a year to get the Old Testament done. And then there's topical things after that, just to put them in print, So, oh, Arwen's here also, and I don't know if I said Greg E. Yeah. Well, yeah, he mentions exposure, but it's like, well, the channel's been around for quite a number of years, and enough people have been here that, and I see new faces now and then, and it's very nice, very surprising always, but, yeah, I don't know where to go next. So I was on DLive. I decided not to be there because live streaming just doesn't seem to be what people come to my channel for. If YouTube, suddenly decided I shouldn't live stream, which I took a risk of by not having the monetization, because that's one thing is like, if you're not making them money, they might just say, we don't don't care about your channel, off you go. If they do, fine. I'm still at BitChute. I can put more things on BitChute. I've got my own website here. But as far as video goes, I would put them on BitChute or something like that. Brighteon, there's a couple of other ones that I forget who it was, posted on Friday in the chat, a couple of sites for video channels. with less censorship. That's another thing is social media. There's things like Minds and what's another one? I can't think of it. Diaspora. I'm on Diaspora, just barely, but it's hard to get other people to move there. I wish people would go away from Facebook because if they do all their scheduling there, friends and family and church groups and things do their scheduling on Facebook, and so if you don't have that, at least Messenger. Even if you have Messenger, you don't get notifications for events. It's like, why are they on Facebook? Ugh. So all right, good comment. Also, Arwen, that YouTube won't take me on. I'm probably too small to matter as far as them wanting to stifle something, but I just have to be prepared for whatever. But like I said, I stopped monetizing, and I don't know what I'll do with live streaming from here on out. I might, like I said, just do premieres, but unless there's people around, in which case, like I said, I can't plan ahead because I don't know if people are showing up until I actually see them. If they're around and they say, yeah, we can go live, I can throw one together fast, but I can't plan ahead. That's the thing. But yeah, as far as the Bible teachings, like I said, I've got tons of material already, videos, written stuff. I don't know what else to say. Current events or a fellowship chat. Yeah, that's the thing with a fellowship chat is, again, it would be better if I had people on panel, but I'm only in one Discord channel now, and there's hardly anybody there. At least, on any regular basis. Let's see, used to upload my videos to BitChute, but stopped for months when I went back. So, oh yeah, is that BitChute? No, it's LBRY, another place I'm on, that will automatically, you can set up to tie your YouTube channel to it, and it automatically ports them over. So I've been doing that. So if you're on LBRY, LBRY, the link to my channel is hopefully in the description. So LBRY is a good format. You only see the videos you want to see. You get some sort of Bitcoins like credits for doing things. I don't know what you would ever do with the Bitcoin things, but so this is kind of a crossroads, I guess you could say. So those are all those options, but like I said, I'll still do YouTube as long as have a channel. I just don't know how much or when or what format. Yeah, we got Bible bits. Chow reminded me of that. That's the little lessons, little quick 15-minute on average lessons. Very basic stuff. Like I said, I've got this site that I have up. I have, if I can find my cursor, Salt and Light course that has links to my videos, some documents, but mostly videos and playlists. Self-guided discipleship course. But that's what I've been doing. And check out the playlists there. And again, if there was something I haven't covered or isn't clear or you can't find it, you can always comment under the video. Chow could probably find my old stuff better than I can. I lose track of what I said when. And hey, you guys are just being awful nice today, so maybe it's worth just coming to see who comes to chat. And this is, so far, seems to be a better time. We got 27, which, like I said, last Tuesday I had 10. So if YouTube is messing with the numbers, the question is, why don't they mess with every channel the same? That'd be my question. But let's see. I don't know if I shouted out Emma or Rakia. I think I mentioned Arwen came, and all people, 3 people. Can't talk today. So yeah, I didn't have a lesson prepared today because I honestly don't know what to talk about next. And if we're just going to do current events, I think that would go better with a panel. So if anybody wants to commit to a 2 o'clock Sunday panel discussion, let me know and I can plan ahead if you're going to be there. But I can't have people just disappearing or not showing up, or, I mean, there's other things people do on schedules. It can't be that hard. But um, I've tried for years. I'm not sure I'm going to try again. But like I said, I might just wait and see who's around. And if nobody's around, I might just go live for 15 minutes or whatever. But again, if I start going live by myself and then somebody else comes along and wants to be on panel, that I'd have to start over because I can't, you know, add people when it's just me going through OBS. I could always go through Discord or something, but not everybody's on Discord, especially since I'm only I'm in my own little one that I don't use much. It's just there to keep track of people, and then there's one other one, but people don't want to join Discord. Um, so I don't know how to make it so I could add somebody at the last minute to a live stream. Um, yeah, I mean, if you can't be in a conversation, that's fine. But I'm trying to figure out what people want as far as the format going forward, because I don't, planning lessons and presenting them, like I said, is a lot of work for stuff that I've already done, and I don't want to just whip out my old notes and do the same thing again. I mean, why? So, so yeah, that's the thing. I think that you said there, Brian, is that a lot of these other channels, they always have a group of them around all the time, and that hasn't been the case for me. I haven't, there's been weeks go by, I don't see anybody I know. So I think that's part of the problem. If there was, like a bunch of people, like 20, 30 people around, and you're more likely to have two or three of them available at any one time. It wouldn't even have to be the same people, But I haven't been able to make that happen. Another option is for me to be on somebody else's panel, which I wouldn't mind at all, because it's a fair amount of effort to run the thing. But as far as keeping my own channel current, like I said, I can do the current events if you want. A lot of people want to come for the Bible lessons, which is primarily what I'm about. But again, I've exhausted it. I mean, I've done so many topics and book studies. I would just be repeating myself. So all right. I think for now, what I'm seeing in the chat is just to schedule it and chat with whoever shows up for however long, and not have, just so people know not to expect some prepared lesson presentation. So maybe we'll do that. But yeah, if that's the problem with, if I just do pop-up live streams with whoever's around, then there's no way to tell people ahead of time. No way to give advance notice, and YouTube is notoriously slow, if at all, getting out notifications for live streams. So, but if I have a presentation, it may or may not be live. It might be more in the form of a premiere. So, there's channels that do like prophecy updates, which I jokingly call just news updates, because that's what they are, and they try to tie them into Bible prophecy. But all I can say is, in general, I don't think that needs a weekly update. But in general, I don't think anybody disagrees that we're on the precipice of something drastic. So whether it's the tribulation about to start, it certainly looks like it to me. I can't guarantee anything, but all I know is that the tribulation proper, the 7 years, the 70th week of Daniel's prophecy in Daniel 9, does not begin until there is a signing of a 7-year covenant involving Israel, and that has not happened. It has to be something, unprecedented, not just another peace deal. It happens to be 7 years. This one is going to be unmistakable, and I've done prophecy stuff to people know what to look for. Such as, since I'm on my site, I might as well just go there. I have this 1,000 words, pictures worth 1,000 words. I have all sorts of charts and things, and one of those is this prophecy chart that I've shown before. Kind of a roadmap of what's to come. We're still in the blue box over here. And this is the rapture, the snatch, the departure that happens to the body of Christ before any of the 7-year stuff can begin. And there might be things happening between that event and the signing of the treaty, the 7-year treaty. So this is where we're at, if as far as prophecy goes, but certainly we're on the edge of something, staring down the barrel of probably the tribulation, but we're not in it yet. So let me look back at the chat again. And sorry if I'm making everybody seasick when I do this sort of thing, because the text is bigger on the one that I'm showing on the live stream, and it's easier for me to see it. So let's see. Day and time works for you. Would you dare go into other religions and try to discern their origins and registered proof of Jesus with them? I'm not sure what you mean. I typically don't go to other religious broadcasts or live streams. What would be the point? They typically aren't looking for a discussion of, which turns into a debate most of the time with average people on the internet. So I wanted to keep this one, because there's an awful lot going on, a lot of mixture of things, and I wanted my channel to be just primarily for the Christian faith. I mean, that's the one I know, and that's the one I'm in. So, but yeah, I don't go around to their channels and do that. I think it's kind of irritating and rude. But, so, if other people are curious, like I said, I've got, about why I believe what I do. I got plenty of material. That help you, ideas we can run with it. Yeah, just like I said, I can't guess. I need people to write or speak, leaving messages on the videos or something like that. I don't get a lot of those either. Not many comments on the videos. So I don't know if it's because they're live streams or what, but do something different than most. Yeah, well, that's what I do. What I've been doing, as far as I know. I don't think the government of Israel is the people talked about in the Bible. Well, they are anti-God right now. That's the thing, Iron Fe, that they are prophesied to be there in unbelief. They have 7 years remaining of their purging. They were exiled before, during the time when Daniel got his prophecies. They were back in the land during Jesus' day. They were exiled again at 70 A.D. and have been in exile ever since. But there is a nation called Israel with people speaking Hebrew and people preparing to institute the sacrificial system. But this is prophesied. They are there in unbelief. And that's one of the primary reasons of the tribulation will be to purge them and punish them, because they've been unfaithful. So them in unbelief is exactly why I think they are Israel that God prophesied. Of course, the other main thing of the tribulation is to purge the earth of all the evildoers, not just the Jews, but the Jews will pay heavily during that time, that 7 years. So that's why I think it's them. Have you seen the Microsoft patent for farming Bitcoin with the human body? No, I have not seen that one. Doesn't surprise me. Bill and Melinda Gates are, I think, appropriately being referred to now as the gates of hell. Seems like a good one to me. They're into all sorts of things. Bill has openly stated his intention to use vaccines to reduce world population. They don't care about people's health. They care about killing people in all sorts of devious ways. And it wouldn't surprise me if they want to use human brain power to mine bitcoins. It's just more Dr. Evil stuff, but I hadn't heard of that one, though. Let's see. Yeah, the blockchain, what I think you're looking, the term there, Brian, is blockchain. Not necessarily Bitcoin, but blockchain, because they use it at Steemit, which I think Steemit was bought out by some Chinese guy. They use it on LBRY. It's all blockchain technology. It's very promising, very useful, but also in the word on the wrong hands, it's very bad potential for total cradle to grave control. Um, so yeah, that would be blockchain is the word for that. Um, let's see. Thanks for that verse, Chow. Google changes the view count. Yeah, well, it's hard to change the number of people chatting, though, although sometimes, like you say, people can't for one reason or another. But again, if they were doing this across the board, why is it that some channels have, 1,000 viewers? Even if they're Christian channels, they might have 1,000 viewers and the chat's running really fast and they have to put it in slow mode. And they have, you know, the view count is, like I said, 1,000. They may have 50 people in chat. So, they don't throttle everybody, I don't think. That's the question. But um, anyway, I think the benchmark for me is how many people are commenting because it gives some indication of the real numbers. So I don't know. That's all I can go by. Because, like you said, you can't trust Google's numbers. Um, anyway, yeah, the chart is one I did quite a while ago, but I've updated recently. It's yeah, this year, just like a month ago. I can blow that up some more to show where we're at. Like I said, this and everything's backed up with scripture. You can look up the scriptures for each point that I'm claiming. Um, and I believe what we're on the edge of is this stuff. Soon as the rapture happens, which the first, there's the sound of the trumpet of God, not the trumpet of the angel in the judgments. Then the shout of the archangel. Then Jesus descends to the sky. He doesn't descend to the earth. The dead in Christ raised. This is something that nobody else can fake. This is, every Christian who's ever lived who is dead at the time Jesus returns is going to be raised up in immortal bodies. Whether they'll stick around or not, I don't think so. But they'll be out of their graves. Their bodies will be gone. Their bones will be gone. All of that happens, and then the rest of us who are alive will be transformed in the twinkling of an eye in an instant from mortal to immortal, and then we all go. Jesus takes us all up to heaven for the 7 years, and then when that happens, then we look for this stuff down here, Isaiah 17 and Psalm 83. I could be wrong about some of this, but the Damascus one has not been fulfilled. This one is a little iffy as far as whether it's a past event, Psalm 83, but it makes a perfect setup for Isaiah 17, in my opinion. And then we see the seals, also known as the beginning of sorrows. And so this is the vertical block is what I think happens during that time. And then the treaty is signed. And then we have the trumpets and then the bowls. So just to give an idea of what I expect to happen in sequence, not necessarily, what year any of this starts, I don't know. But when the treaty is signed, then you have a clock. Then you have a known, predictable time. Only then. Anyway, that's what the chart's about. Let's see. Looking at the chat again. Let's see. Oh, got a link to the patent there, or at least a number. Awesome. Let's see. Our responsibility to keep our house in order. Yep. And that's the thing is, I think God does use events in the world to wake up his own people and not just the whole world. Christians have gotten complacent and lazy and not concerned with prophecy, which, as I've said, takes up nearly a third of the Bible and is one of the major ways we know the Bible is different from other religious texts because of the fulfilled prophecy. And this is what the Bible appeals to. It always looking at, you can check these historical names and places and events, and here's why we do that is to show that prophecy is fulfilled. So it's a big deal. And but like I said, I wouldn't plan to do a prophecy update every day because it's more of a what's going on in the news, which right now is just saturated with the pandemic, or plandemic, as many call it. And being home more, we've kind of been binge watching some shows that we wouldn't have been able to see before because we don't get cable. So we wait for things to become free and we can skip the commercials and all that. But there's very little that's quality, good enough quality to watch. But the things we do watch, sometimes there's little commercials that are too short to skip or whatever. And they're all about the new normal and staying at home and getting your vaccines. It's just total wall-to-wall propaganda, every channel, all the time. If you know what it is, it's not going to bother you. I mean, it's annoying, but, they're just pushing this narrative so hard about, this is never going to change. You're always going to be a prisoner in your house. And we might even come take your children away if you don't get your vaccines. So I'm just happy my kids are grown. But I pity anyone whose kids aren't grown, who's going to have to deal with that if they have any conscience at all. But, it's just interesting times, as the old Chinese curse says. Let's see. Yeah, lukewarmness is a bad thing. I will not get a vaccine. If it's forced, if they hold you down and stick you in your arm with that, you're totally not responsible. It's their responsibility. But if you are given a choice, I would not take it. And they may say, well, it's extortion, or, well, not extortion is not the word I'm looking for, but kind of a shakedown, a mafia shakedown, when they say, well, you do this or that, or something bad might happen, like they'll threaten you and say, you have to, never go out of your house. You have to, give up all your possessions and go to a prison. Whatever they do, if they're pushing you that hard, then it's not choice. Because even in secular law, if you sign a contract under duress, under pressure and threat, it's not legally binding. And God is certainly more forgiving than any court. So I think it's going to be, at that point, a matter of individual conscience, whether at the time, because you don't really know until you've got the threat right in your face, what you're going to do. Because if somebody's saying, I'm going to take your kids or shoot your dog or whatever it is if you don't get this vaccine, and you go ahead and let them give you the vaccine, A, there's no guarantee they still won't take your kids and shoot your dog, and B, it's not something that you had a real choice in, because threatening you with a gun to your head and saying make a choice is not a real choice. And I can't tell anybody else what their conscience should be in that point. It's going to be at the moment, at the person, but each person should kind of, pray about it and think about it ahead of time. What would you do? I will resist as long as possible. That's all I know. People will be forced out of the system. But it really isn't worldwide enforced until the middle of the tribulation, when there's an idol in the temple desecrating it in Israel, halfway, 3.5 years after the signing of a treaty with Israel, which I'm sure has to do with allowing them to build a temple. Then that is the mark of the beast, and you can't buy or sell without it. But they are certainly stepping up to that, little bits at a time, and this was a bigger step. Going to require a test before a vaccine, no doubt. I've heard there are less invasive tests, which they've already got your DNA anyhow, one way or another, they've got it, But, so, as long as it doesn't involve them sticking you with something, if they want you to spit into a cup or something, I don't, that's no biggie, but I would try to resist. I would avoid to the last minute any kind of them injecting or extracting with a needle or whatever it is. That's just what I would do. Good to see you again, Nathan. I shouted you out earlier. I don't know if you were here. Yeah, those tests are ridiculous. Medical people say the tests are ridiculous. They can only test for corona in general, not a particular strain. And there's a lot of false positives. Um, I think I read recently, if it's true, of a large group of homeless people out in California that they tested, all had it, but only a tiny percentage had any symptoms, which you could take either way. Either A, we should all run around like Chicken Little because everybody's going to get sicker, even though they don't have symptoms, or B, it proves that it's really not that as far as it's contagious, but it's not that devastating unless you have underlying problems. And it is altitude sickness. As far as, I saw a video of somebody saying firsthand they were treated as though they had altitude sickness because they had driven to Colorado or someplace and got sick and the doctors decided it was altitude sickness because they had all the symptoms, shortness of breath, mild fever, all the things that are associated with COVID-19 before it was a thing. They treated them with, for altitude sickness. Well, that's what they did to this guy. Only it turned out later he did have COVID-19. But the treatment for altitude sickness worked because that's exactly what it's mimicking, as if you have altitude sickness. So just to keep that in mind, but just so much of this is so blatantly obvious a power grab and more control over the population. And the worst thing for me is not that there are evil people in government that do this. We already know that. But that there are so many sheep who will even turn on each other for not wearing a mask or not keeping a certain distance or whatever it is. It's just insane. And this is one of the reasons why we're on the edge of the tribulation, because people are just so... I don't want to say that all the people are evil. I'm just saying that they are the average person, the average normie, is so willing to follow any leader, the strongest voice or arm. Saw a headline today, something along the lines of, even if you don't test positive, you likely have viruses, it's my understanding, I'm not a doctor and neither is Bill Gates, and Al Gore is not a climatologist, just FYI. It's my understanding that viruses are the body's own reaction to a toxin. And why it is that it seems to be contagious is the big puzzle, because viruses are not alive, but your body produces them in response to something. So that's the something you're responding to that's contagious. And so I'm a little murky on that detail, but when that happens, so many will look to the Bible. I'm hoping so, but Christians need to be prepared to give answers or point people in the right direction when that happens. That's what I'm concerned about, is there won't be very many Christians to help them when they do look to the Bible again, or look to, any kind of Christian to say what is going on. I'm hoping there will be some around to tell them, but I don't know. It's a hope against hope. Again, more nice comments. Thank you very much. Let's see. The guy that made the test say they were not for COVID. Exactly. Yeah, they're for COVID or coronaviruses in general. And corona just means crown, and that's just a description of the shape, the appearance of the virus. There's no, word code as far as, looking for anything with the word crown. That's not how language works. Let's see. Looking for comments again. One of the end times occurrences is that you will see others as God sees them. Others will see you as God sees you. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, things are already getting ugly. I mean, maybe they'll open up the economy a little in some places. Maybe they won't. Who knows? Some states are worse than others. New York, Michigan, and California are places I wouldn't want to be right now. So yeah, when enough people, I think, again, something like this, they test the waters. And in this case, I have this suspicion that they're testing the governors in the U.S., at least here. I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but I think they wanted to see how many governors would clamp down their own states, and how long, and what they would do, and how far out of the Constitution they would step. Because, for example, the First Amendment says the government shall make no law prohibiting the free exercise of religion. That's part of it. That's not the whole First Amendment. But when they tell you you can't even drive your car and sit in the parking lot, or they put tickets on your window, there was a class action suit about that. And I think it was in Michigan. I'm not sure. But someplace where a church had a drive-in. Our church has done that. We usually do live streams. But on Easter weekend, there was a drive-in communion service, right? And we all stayed in our cars. And one place in Michigan had a drive-in service, and or I think it was Michigan, and the cops, threatened everybody and put tickets on all their windows, and they had to back down. There was I don't know if there was a class action suit or whether somebody just, in a position of power said, no, you can't do that. That's prohibiting the free exercise of religion. And when they can let in people to the liquor store or the abortion clinic and not let them into a church, that is discrimination, and that's what the ruling was, is you're singling out. If you were doing the same thing across the board, maybe they'd let it go, even though it's still unconstitutional. But since they only picked out religious gatherings, this was highly illegal, and they knew they'd get the pantsuit off them if they kept at it, so they backed down. But people have to stand up. They just have to stand up. And even if we think back to the U.S. supposed Revolutionary War, we all know that there's a lot more backstory than that, but it didn't take very many people to actually make that happen. It was not a mass, everybody on the same page. It's people who were the most passionate about freedom. They're always a small percentage, but they had to stand up. So this is the problem, is now you can't even communicate without them, the deep state, knowing about it. And that's the way they like it. And that's one of the reasons I don't think we will lose internet for any length of time in all places at once, because how else are they going to spy on us? Yes, they have drones. Yes, they have towers. But they need you to have your spy devices. They need you to have your phones. And all these things require electricity and broadcasting power. Now, eventually, if they have you chipped, your own body supplies the power, but you still have to have signals, and there still have to be towers. And if they had electricity to the towers and cut it off to everybody else, I can guarantee you they would be sabotaged on a regular basis, just like people are setting fire to 5G towers right now. So we're not quite in a perfect tyranny at the moment, but it sure is a lot worse than it used to be. I kept thinking something else is going to have not to do with the flu season, something they can't control. Maybe that's quite possible. And I do think the Rapture will be a triggering event where things really go on steroids, so to speak, on tyranny, on worldwide tyranny. As far as things happening every few hundred years, I mean, going just back a few generations and knowing our own family history, I'd say, the weather is the biggest thing that people know about, but they know about it. Why it happens is another question, but we know now the weather's manipulated, so we really don't have precedents for expecting anything, and they can control that to some degree. But just as a balancing idea, the Bible does say in Revelation about God destroying those who destroy the earth, so that will come. But yeah, as far as number of people, Brian, it's like I said, last Tuesday it was 10 people in spite of everything and everybody being in house arrest. Now we got 27, so maybe it's the day and time, I don't know, but I know better than to think, oh, it's always going to be at least 20, 30 people here. That just doesn't happen. Has anyone seen Crystal? She comes and goes. She's got some serious life issues right now, like a lot of other people I know, on top of all the crazy, serious other life issues. So, I haven't seen her lately, but I do talk to her maybe once a week or so. Yeah, people at least need to put up a fight, even if they're going to lose. Let's see. Yeah, all the perversions and stuff going on. That's another reason these things are going to come to a head eventually. Which is why I don't think Bible prophecy that I've got there on the screen is very far off at all. It's the degree of tyranny, technology, depravity, and the number of people in the world who just don't care. They're just going to go with whatever the government tells them. That's a lethal combination. Yeah, they can use the body's own power, electricity and chemicals to power a chip. Absolutely. But like I said, are you going to get broadcasts of propaganda through your chip? Probably not. They can track your whereabouts and your ID, but they can't really pump their propaganda into you very well without their telescreens, to use an Orwellian term, of some sort. So there will always be some kind of electricity, and they need it for their towers. And like I said, if people find out there's electricity to the towers and none for them, they're going to confiscate it. During the night, people are going to cut the wires and use them for themselves. So anyway, see, they loosened the censorship so they could see people that were going to say something. Yeah, they do that all the time. Like I said, I think this was another test. Yes, it's very real, and yes, you always lose something. It's just like with in the U.S. income tax after, what was it, World War I, was supposed to be temporary for the war effort, and of course it's never temporary. Just like the TSA wasn't temporary. There have been no plane hijacking since then, but it's not because of the TSA, because they have been shown time after time to be negligent, and half of them are criminals themselves. So they're just there as Orwellian tyranny. They're not there for any practical purpose. They haven't stopped hijackings. The hijackings were planned anyway, not by crazy people. Well, I guess, I don't know what to call the insane deep state. They are crazy, but not by loners, not by, Bedouins, not by cavemen, but by governments. And CIAs and NSA, FBI, all the alphabet letter agencies. That's who does those things. It's terrorism. The state engages in terrorism. They all do that. They terrorize their own people to make them give up their, the Constitution is all, but it's like the little picture I've had on here before of the Potemkin village is just a facade. The Constitution was actually technically done away with in the Act of 1871 with the creation of the District of Columbia, which is one of the world's 3 city-states. We have the Corporation of London as the financial hub, the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. as the military-industrial, although not so much industrial anymore. And, of course, the religious hub is the Vatican. Those are all 3 city-states, all governments unto themselves, but posing illegally as the rulers of countries. And D.C. has no legal right to rule over the rest of the country. They just don't. But they have the army, they have the cops, they have the SWAT teams, they control the infrastructure, so what are you going to do? I'm just saying, it's a house of cards, it's a facade. But they're openly shredding the Constitution now to the point where, it's pretty hard to explain sheeple anymore, normies. That's like, well, but there are people like that. They're like the people in the Matrix who fight to the death for Big Brother. Mixed a couple of analogies there, but it fits. Let's see. If, when the Earth's magnetic field reduces to a very low level, stays low, or flips and slowly builds back up, there would be worldwide disruption. You know what? I don't know that there's any real proof of pole reversals. I know the poles move, the magnetic pole moves around, but I don't know that it's ever flipped. I've looked into that, and I don't see any evidence that the magnetic field lines in certain rock layers prove that the whole Earth's magnetic field flipped. I think that's a really bogus theory, but but can things happen in the magnetic field? Absolutely. So who knows? And it could work against the deep state as much, they may not be in control of that, or they do stupid things that would have unintended consequences. They've done that before, like, what was it called? Fishbowl, when they tried to blow up the firmament, blow a hole in it. And in my opinion, all that would do is just flood the world again. Maybe they're trying to do that, wipe everybody out because they're stupid. So anyway, um, just remember Bill and Melinda Gates are the gates of hell. Do you think this will wake up any normies? I think some. I am somewhat encouraged on in some places where you see social conversations and people are that you wouldn't expect are finally going, yeah, when we're looking at this virus, this pandemic, they're going, yeah, this is total lies that the government's feeding us. And it took things hitting them in their wallets and in their social lives to wake them up. I think that's what it really took to wake them up. And why it's a blessing in disguise for a lot of people to wake up. Because then once you've got them seeing that their government's lying to you, you can tell them about 9/11, you can tell them about the moon landings, you can tell them about vaccines. A whole bunch of things open up when you know that your government's lying to you. And so I do think some people have woken up. How long they'll stay awake, like I was saying Friday, when my and a couple of friends were talking, how long they stay awake is another question. Because as soon as things go back to normal enough, um, people have the memory of a goldfish, and they will accept the quote unquote new normal that's been pushed on them. So, so yeah, I think pole flip is also fear born, just like climate chaos, whatever the term du jour is. Um, it's just all a pack of lies, and I'm hoping, more people will stay awake from this. They probably arrogantly did try to destroy the world. Yeah, I believe. I don't know if nukes are real or not, but certainly any potent weapon, even Tesla weapons, he developed, ideas for a what we would call a ray gun that one way or another they would try to poke holes in the firmament, but I think they just want to destroy the place. That's what Satan has always wanted. So they would kill it themselves in the process. That's, as the saying goes, cutting off your nose to spite your face. They would do that because they're criminally insane. So the sun is the bomb. It's interesting in the prophecy thing I've got up here at one point. Um, let's see, the sun and moon are darkened at the fourth trumpet, but then at the fourth bowl, the sun scorches people and then goes out. So it's utter darkness. The stars have already fallen from the sky at this point, and the sun goes dark. Um, so that will be a thing. This is not yet. The brainwash will only be more so. Yeah, that's the thing is they've had control of the school system, which is another blessing in disguise. If people have their kids at home and they see and have to be more hands-on in what their kids are learning, they may rebel against going back to school at all and say, look, we can do online school. Let's keep doing online school and save a bunch of money. It's just like with working at home. My husband's been able to work at home. He thinks that when the restrictions are lifted, they'll have to go back to the office. And I'm like, you gotta keep putting in their ear while you are still working at home that this is A, functioning, they're still getting their work done, and B, saving everybody a ton of money. You don't have to pay for supplies at the building. You don't have to have as much building space for people who have to go there, only who have to go there, like to run a machine or whatever it is. You don't have to pay for parking. You don't have to pay for bus passes. You don't have to pay for gas, which irritates the oil industry, but let them be irritated because oil has never been scarce. That's why it's cheap right now, is partly because of people not traveling, but also partly because there's plenty of oil. It's not a fossil fuel. It's not limited. There is no such thing as peak oil. So good can come out of this, but we have to push for it. Even then, there's no guarantee of success, but we should try. Whatever each of us can do. A lot of us don't have many influence, but anyone who's in any position to get to the media, local media, you're not going to get to the big ones, or, local government, political realm, something like that, anything to get publicity out. They'll shut down social media channels for that sort of thing, but you can still do an end around on your local level. So, let's see, I should pay more attention to the chat. I get off on a tangent, but let's see. I hope it awakes those with questions that never had the time to research before. Yep. Yep, good can come out of it. And we need to communicate online as much as we can while we can. They will throttle it if they don't shut it down. We'll have to learn some codes. There's, one thing, watching these, they're not necessarily spy shows, things to do with uh, hunting down cunning criminals or whatnot. People always have code words that they use if to say that they're in trouble. Some simple, innocent little word that they could text to somebody if they were in trouble, or it means to bug out, or whatever it means. That something that a code word that people have in their own family or whatever it is. So that wouldn't be a bad idea to have, because otherwise they'll think, what is this strange text for? I don't know what you mean. Anyway, yeah, the sky spraying can hide some things, but certainly not all of it. People are going to know if you can't see stars ever any night or see the sun and the moon. Photographers, amateur astronomers, there's a bunch of people like that, and they would be complaining or saying, why can't we see these things anymore? Oh, the stars of a million light years have just gone out. We don't know why. That's probably what the cover story would be. But still, it's just an awful big thing to hide. Many are just watching the news and getting, yep. Like I said, if you watch it all, you see they're pushing stay at home, new normal, get your shots really hard. So, yeah, this is a moment of opportunity to wake people up with just concentrate on the pandemic and the evidence for that, and then once their eyes are open to the fact that the government can lie to them, then all sorts of other things open up. Elon Musk, okay, yeah, he's another one of them. Yeah, we're all pretty sick of them, aren't we? Yes, I have seen Raising Arizona, hilarious movie. Yep, with the code names. Been a long time since I've seen that. That was pretty funny. But yeah, Elon Musk. People try to tell me that is him. That he is his rockets are. I don't know which it was of Bible prophecy. Trying to put it in Bible prophecy, but it doesn't fit. Media and politicians are known liars. Healthcare robbers of the people, so there could be ulterior motives. Oh yeah, I mean, there's money to be made and people to be controlled and mad scientists to be entertained. Yeah, that was a Nicolas Cage movie. Yep. But yeah, interesting times. But I think my job as a Christian is just to say, try to tell people, download this chart if you want, print it out. Hoping you won't get stuck here. The only way to get stuck here is to not accept Jesus' offer of being adopted by your Creator by trusting Him because He rose from the dead. That's the gospel, and that's how you get out at the blue box and the black triangles there. That's how you avoid all the rest of the crazy on steroids that comes after that. But that shouldn't be the reason. The motivation should be, do you want to be reconciled with your Creator? I'm just saying, if you decide not or don't make a decision, then this is what to expect, as far as I understand it. I could be wrong, but this is what works for me. Let's see. Did you see the opening for the 2012 Olympics? Nope. I probably saw clips of it later, all the occult stuff that goes on. I don't remember specifically 2012, but yeah, they're totally occult. The games have been turned into a long time ago, just not just political but religious. They've turned it into pretty much Satan worship. So I haven't paid any attention to the Olympics. Free TV doesn't give you any coverage anyway. They give you personal stories of some of the athletes. They give you a couple of highlights. They don't show you anything that you might be interested in. They don't care. But people used to be glued to their TVs when the Olympics were on, back when I was a kid. But The coverage is so bad now, so politicized, so not about athletic competition. What's the point? YouTube channel's gone. Yeah, why did they do that? It used to be you could hover over somebody's name and click, the three dots, and hovering on a desktop, but whatever you do on a phone, touch somebody's name and go to their channel. They took that away. I don't know why. So anyway, somehow I've managed to chat for an hour, but this will probably be a recurring theme, is things being what they are right now. But everybody, if you haven't read Orwell's 1984 and Animal Farm, it's a pre-documentary on the world today. And the warnings, of course, have not been heeded. UFC will be the first sport back. Why doesn't that surprise me? But I'll tell you what, a lot of people who were planning careers in NFL football or NBA, any of the big ones that are, involved making money from crowds, or hopefully if some young person was thinking of getting into that, they might think again, because those are not essential services. Why anybody should get more rich from a non-essential service like that, like entertainment. That's what sports is. It's entertainment. And people struggle to be teachers or whatever. That's just not right. But has anyone seen the film Midsummer? Creepy, not recommended yet. Okay. Director's other film was well made. Okay. Nope, I haven't seen it. Midsummer or Midsummer? I don't know what that is. Haven't heard of that. Anyway, thank you all for coming. It is, time to get a drink and relax with the family some more. So I really appreciate you coming. It's more than I usually get. So that's encouraging. But like I said, it won't be me presenting a lesson every time. I don't know what it will be. So I have seen more and more people wearing the mask, Arwen. Sometimes they look at me funny for not wearing one. But until it's forced on me, I'm not going to. And if a store says you have to have a mask, I'll say, do you want my money? Or are you going to give me a mask? I won't shop there if they won't provide a mask and they force you to wear it. So, and if it did get to that point, instead of buying some fancy mask, I would just get some long strips of cloth and tie them around my face when I go into places. And, it's not like they really do anything. Burn the mask. There you go. Did you guys see that there's a clip of some people, some little sweatshop in India? I mean, you could tell by, with the appearance of the people, this was in India. And they're making these masks, these blue ones that hook over your ears, the little blue ones, and they're sewing them, and the sewn masks are being thrown on the floor. And there's people sitting on the floor putting some together. Just totally, unsanitary conditions. So I wouldn't buy a mask from any place outside of the country. And even if they're made in the country, you have to really dig to find out where their supply chain went. So anyway, okay, I don't know what an Owen Benjamin Grebler mask is, but I've seen some pretty funny ones online. So anyway, yeah, wear garlic around your necks. Maybe people will start doing that. Anyway, I am going to shut down. So thanks again for coming, and support channels you like. And I don't mean money. I mean just being there. And comment under videos, because it gives us an idea what to do. So thanks for everybody who showed up. I do think I'll stick with this time, whether I have anything to say or not. We'll see, but it may also be panel discussions if anybody's around. So thanks again. God bless everybody. Hey, Pillbox, I was just shutting down. You got to get here earlier, man. So we'll see you all next week, one way or another, or something like that. So thanks again. We'll see you.